This is Gospel Music Today. We are at the National Quartet Convention, and I am sitting here with Jym Howe of the Mystery Men Quartet. And Jym, welcome to Gospel Music Today.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure to have you on the program. Now, tell me, we want to know a little bit about you, and then we'll talk about the Mystery Men Quartet. But what's your background in Southern Gospel singing?
Actually, it's pretty short. I had owned a business in Florida, and I sold it and moved to Nashville to be close with my parents, and expecting to go into business management somewhere, and couldn't get an interview. I was at my dad's business, and I'd hung up the last call. The company that was in the same field that I was in, and I hung up, and I turned around to Dad, and I said, obviously God has something different in store for me. And I said, because I can't get an interview. But there were a lot of quartets calling me, wanting me to sing with them. And I said, well, maybe I ought to give this a try. And Dad said, well, Jym, he said, I don't know, I'd never sang professionally. And I decided to give it a try. And what was about 6 months later, I was traveling all over the world singing with the Stamps Quartet. And it's just been a whirlwind since then. Shortly after that, I was called by Ed Crawford, and he offered me a job with the Mystery Men, and I really felt like that's where God wanted me to be, and it's been a great move.
Now, the Mystery Men, what a combination of talent and experience. Run through the lineup of that group.
Okay, well, I sing the tenor, and we have Steve Warren. Many of your listeners or watchers they'll be aware of Steve Warren from his time with the Masters 5, and he was also with J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, and he sang tenor with them. And he's a 9-time Grammy nominee. He is the only 3-time inductee into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame. That's quite an accomplishment there. Ed Crawford from the Kingsman heyday, he sang When Mama Prayed. He'd be most recognizable as that. When Mama Prayed, Heaven Paid Attention. He sings baritone and is also manager and owner of the group. And then from Clanton, Alabama, we have Joe Armstrong, probably the best kept secret in gospel music. He is absolutely incredible. We sang with Ronnie Millsap a couple of months ago, and Ronnie mentioned when we finished our set, and he said, my goodness, is that J.D. Sumner you have down there on the end? Joe is absolutely incredible. He has beautiful tones and can sing plumb off the end of the piano.
How did you get involved in the program with Ronnie Millsap?
They had called Steve. They heard that because Steve had a dinner show in Pigeon Forge after he left the Wayne Newton show. He got his own dinner show, and he had joined us. And Ronnie had heard through the grapevine that Steve was now singing with a quartet. And of course, Ronnie had recorded his gospel CDs, and he was putting these songs into his program. And he called his manager, and he said, do you know how to get a hold of Steve Warren? And I said, yeah. He said, well, I'd like to have a gospel quartet back me up on my gospel numbers in it. And so they called Steve, and our schedule allowed for it, so we went and did it. I believe we have another one coming up this next month that we're going to be working with Ronnie.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good audience to be singing to, isn't it?
It's great because we're introducing a new fan base to gospel music. By the end of our first show that we did with them, people in the audience were yelling out gospel songs that they wanted to hear us sing. And that's great because these are the people we have to reach. Southern Gospel fan is already a fan. They're fans of the Dub Brothers or the Kingsmen or somebody. They've already got it. But we need to go out and get, because there's no reason country music fans can't embrace Southern gospel music, and it's just a natural fit, and they just need to be introduced to it. And we really appreciate Ronnie giving us the opportunity to introduce his fans to our music.
Well, that's important to the group too, isn't it? To be able to reach out beyond the traditional church.
Oh yes, definitely. Most importantly, and we love to entertain. We really do. I don't think there's any group out there that's going to. I mean, remember, Crawford's from the Kingsman days, and we still pull the Kingsman show, okay? They're going to be entertained, but we have people get saved all the time. I don't, in fact, I was just talking with Brian with the Kingsman just a moment ago, and I told him I don't think I could fill my hand up with the amount of services that we've had that at least one person hasn't got saved. And that was just huge for me when I came with the group. I just felt it was a natural fit because it's important to me. Like I told you before, I was a businessman. I didn't have any goal of becoming a gospel music singer. That wasn't my goal. But seeing people get saved, well, my father, he calls me every week while we're out, and he said, how many people have gotten saved? I mean, that's the first question he asked me. and it's great to be able to answer with positive numbers every week.
Has the group been recording?
Oh yes, since I've been with them, we're now on our third project, and this week will be 1 year that I've been with the group. About 2 weeks after I joined the group, they were already in the middle of a project, so we went in the studio and finished that, and that's the project that we had our first top 40 hit with, Ready to Leave. And I believe you've been playing our video on that.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah, thank you. And then whenever Steve joined the group, which has been about 5-6 months ago, we immediately went back into the studio and recorded another project with him. And then after working with Mr. Millsap, he had some songs left over from when he had recorded his gospel album, and that he decided to do some songbook songs, hymnal songs. In his project, and he had these songs that were given to him, and he told his management to give those songs to us, and we're in the studio recording those now. We're really excited about that. I mean, just some of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. Steve Warren has problems being in the studio while we're recording some of them. He literally breaks down crying. The lyrics are so touching, just unbelievable.
Well, that's some great singing. That's going to get the message across. That's excellent.
That's what the goal is.
Mystery Men Quartet website is?
It is themysterymen.com. That's a hard one to remember.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Well, Jym, thank you very much for talking to us on Gospel Music today.
Well, thank you. I just want to tell everybody out there, hey, the Mystery Men, we're coming to your town. Be sure and come out and see us when we're there.
There's more coming up on Gospel Music Today.